So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to start to bring in and create a uh, demo reel for your character rigs that you've created. So I'm just going to show an example here first. So it's got the name, character, what he did. This is a professional one done for Dungeons and Dragons Online. And he's got little side notes down here. And goes through the controls, IK, blending, hand controls, parent constraints for IK risk, child of world. So it goes through all the controls and explains kind of what they are and what they're doing. So from here, two-hand weapon constraint. So from here, we want to create something similar to this, how we present it. So here's one that I did. This is got a couple character rigs that I've done. I'm only going to play part of it, but make sure you always include like a title card of your name, what it is you did on it, name and email and things like that. And here's, just skip forward a little bit. So it runs through all the controls, root spine controls. Let's go ahead and make this. Runs through all the controls here. Finger controls. Okay, let's skip ahead. Claw controls. IK arm elbow, so it goes through that. FK arm control, goes through that. So it just goes through all the controls that I have on here, just as the other one did. And in order to do that, you want to go ahead and create a play blast of, some animation that you've done for it. So you just right click down here, play blast. We've done that before. We also then want to go to make sure that we create a screen capture of what we are working on. And there we go. And you always want it to look as good as possible. So that being said, you start by, generally you'll start either from the top going down or the bottom going up. In some type of order like that, you're not going to jump from like this foot control to this arm control. Generally, you're going to do some sort of smooth transition from one control to the next. So I'm going to start with the global control and just start by going with the scale to make sure you can see that my entire thing can scale, because that's extremely important. Make sure you can do all these things. And then you can also run through and do the foot control, have it move up, rotate, adjust the knee control, drag up, show that the knee control works, explain how it works on like a pole vector constraint. So anything like that, then make sure you're bringing everything back to 0. You can always control Z things. And then go through the special controls you create. And not only just the translate and rotate, but make sure you go through the ball control, or the ball raise, the heel raise, the heel pivot. Make sure you get the best angle possible. The bank, right? The toe raise, and the toe pivot. So run through all those controls, also run through these to make sure you show how these work. If you have anything else, like additional controls, like I have an IK-FK switch here, I can switch that to IK. I would run through that, go through how that works and whatnot. And this is ran by a pole vector as well. So do things like that, and then you can run through facial controls as well. Make sure you got some facial controls, and then you can Go through those. Smile, frown, and you can even just set up like a little bit of a kind of a wonky face. If you'd like, show how you get the eye controls working or something. I mean, you want to make sure you run through all of the controls that you have, and even individually, so you can have them looking goofy. But other than that, that's about it. To just run through all those controls. You can look up these examples. I'll leave them posted on the lab. And what you do from there is, once you're done, you file export this after screen recording from QuickTime as a screen capture. So you would do a file screen recording. And once you do that, then you just export it and you do file export. So export. That's in Maya. In QuickTime, file, export. And then once you got the videos out, I pre-recorded really quick ones this morning just before I started to record this. Do a new project, locate where you want to save it. I'm just going to hit OK. And yeah, that's fine, whatever it was. And now, from here, I'm going to do a file, import, and I'm going to go to 3D modeling and animation, and I'm going to go to my Wolverine rig and locate, I got my presentation example, that's a short one, and my walk cycle demo. So what you want to make sure that you do include is, not only do you just include a working example of, this is just short, I didn't even run through all the controls, just this, make sure you also include somewhere at the end, you know, the animation itself. So and you can zoom in here, and as I had mentioned, you want to make sure you create like a title card, and for this motion you can scale things as well. I'm just going to go ahead and scale it so it fits the entire page, the entire scene. So there we go. Now I've got, and I'm going to copy and paste it a couple times, and then it'll play my cycle. That's just a fast, easy way to do it. And then you can sort of fade out from there. A couple things else that you can do. I'm going to slide this over. Let's just move over this way. And you can create title, new title, default still. That's fine. Click, I'll put, yeah, title 01, that's fine. And then from in here, you get this little box here that gives you the title sequence tools. And let me just scooch this out of the way. And no matter where you are in your video, it puts it up here. So when you're doing your like arm controls and just displaying the text of what's actually being used, like the global control, foot controls, things like that, you can go ahead, just use your text tool. In this case, I just want this to be my title card. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. I can click using the text box tool and just sort of create Henrik Host-Madsen, character, whatever your character's name is, maybe, character rig, even include what you did on it, texture, model, something like that. You could even textured and modeled, and then email, and that's about it. Okay, you can do other things just like any other type of, I'm going to center this, scale it slightly bigger so I get everything on one thing. I'm going to bring this up based on the fact that I just want it to be there, and then I'm going to right click and arrange, position horizontal center, position vertical center. So now I've got it perfectly centered here in my title sequence, and that's good for me now. And then I'm going to hit close, and I'm going to take this title sequence and I'm just going to click and drag it to the beginning, and there we go. And you could do other things like video transitions, like a dissolve. Just go to effects and then do cross dissolve, click and drag that over here, and then when it starts, there you go. And then you can also run other text tools and titles. So add new title, default still, title 2, and this will just be global CTRL. And I'm gonna just create one that says I'm gonna scrub over really quickly to the part where I run through the global control, and I'm just gonna put it in like the bottom corner over here and put global control, and I'm going to take my mouse pointer and just sort of position it where I want, and that'll be that. And then I'll go ahead and close that, and I'll go here and I'll take my global control and I'm going to place this one on top of the other one, and I can also have that fade in as well. If it'll make it look a little bit nicer. So then it goes, and I'll play it back. So it plays that, and then it plays here. So you do that with everything. You could speed this up too. Speed duration, let's say 150. It'll be a little bit faster, and I'll shorten it as well. And I'm going to right click there and do a ripple delete. Oh, and you could also include on here, if you need to make any adjustments to your title, double click on it. And I'd forgotten that I also animated it. So, and animated. Now you'll notice that the text goes down because I just have to click and drag that down. Something like that, something similar. Right click on it, position, vertical center, should be good. Vertical, horizontal center, there we go. And then I'll go ahead and exit, and you'll see that that just changed right away. So I've got modeled, rigged, and everything like that. And I'm going to zoom in and do a ripple delete here. Just right click, ripple delete. And now I will go ahead, and I'm just going to cut this for just the sake of I'll do it up to like here. I can stretch this out to this point. I'll do one more just to show you one more time. Add new title, default still. Hit cancel. Title, new title, default still. Title 03, foot controls. Alright, then from here, now that I'm on this part, just go ahead, click the text tool. Foot controls. Go ahead, drag this to where you want it. Click exit. And now take your foot controls, drag it over here. It'll go through. And I'm just going to stop it right there because that's good enough. And then, because I didn't even go through all the controls on this video, I just wanted to do enough to show you. I'm going to cut this at this point. I'm going to delete here, and I'm going to ripple delete here. Just select it. It'll highlight the space in between. Right click, ripple delete, and there we go. And then one more time, you'll take your title card here, click and drag that at the end, and you can even do like a cross dissolve on that as well. And there you go. And that's just basically how all there is to it. It's not too hard. After that, you just run an export. So I would also want to include like the name of my character or something like Wolverine or Logan. Um, and then going back to here, you'll see you get all that. This has animations more than likely at the end. Oh, he's got a couple rigs in here. So here's some animation here. Maybe? No. There it is. So there's the original character we saw with some animation on it. And so it goes through all the controls, and then it goes through the animation, and then it fades out to the next character so that he has rigged up. So anyway, that's just a little bit there. Now, once you get your entire video, like something like this, foot controls, global control, and then an animation, just simply file, export, media, locate where you want to save it. Change this. You do not want it to be that GoPro Cinema one. Let's just see here. It, for the most part, not a big deal. You could also do like a HD 720. And then I'll go ahead and say presentation example reel. Save. Export, export. And then you could also include music too. If you wanted to include music, just import that. And then go ahead and hit export. Let me just double check here. This is all good. Export. It'll export it. I don't know how fast this will export while I'm screen capturing. It's doing pretty good. I didn't jack up I didn't maximum render quality and super high res, but it's good enough. And that's really all there is. Once this is done exporting, you've got your character rigging reel complete, and you can upload it to the internet like YouTube, Vimeo, things like that, and show off your work and try to get recognized and hired through your demo reels. So it says about 50 seconds. You can use the media encoder too. It'll ask you, when you hit Q, it'll open up Adobe Media Encoder, and you can set it to export from there as like YouTube ready, like YouTube HD or Vimeo HD or just YouTube standard quality video. So there's all types of different render settings from there. A few more moments. The longer the video, the longer it'll take to export. And